Hey everyone, welcome back to a bonus episode of the Craft Parenting Podcast, the podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline. Caroline,
hey.
You are back.
I am.
Again.
You let me get back onto the podcast. You did not replace me with Julia permanently.
No, that was a temporary.
After abandoning me at home with the kids while I was sick.
Well, I gave you pho, so there's that.
You did bring me home some pho.
Which is Vietnamese soup.
Vietnamese soup, yes.
Yes. Very delicious.
So yummy.
But we are not talking about any of that.
Nope.
This is a very quick podcast.
And we're done.
And we are going to talk about a beer festival that we went to this past weekend.
A very, very fun beer festival.
And it is called Beers, Booze, and Bonks. And it was hosted by the one and only Gnarly Gnome. And it was sponsored by WEBN.
Yep. It was cool seeing all the WEBN guys out and about. It's weird putting faces to voices.
I didn't see any of the WEBN guys.
They were all Fōwling. I saw them Fōwling.
But
We were too busy. You were too busy drinking and rubbing elbows with Cincinnati craft beer royalty.
Craft beer royalty. We'll get to that in a second. But Beers, Booze, and Bonks. This is the second year that they've done it, I believe.
Yes.
Each of these things has a place to play, has a part to play in the festival. So the beer, of course, it's a beer festival. So they brought in local craft beer. The list was curated by the Gnarly Gnome. And if you don't know the Gnarly Gnome, he is a local beer blogger and podcaster and YouTuber, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
He just went live like an hour ago for his YouTube, weekly.
His weekly show called The Weekly Pint.
Weekly show that's not a show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he has that on YouTube, but he's a beer blogger, he's a podcaster, and his thing is he talks about, writes about, does videos about craft beer, specifically Cincinnati and Cincinnati craft beer. So Cincinnati area, so that includes Dayton sometimes, it includes Northern Kentucky, and even sometimes it includes West Virginia. But that was only once. So the festival, there was beer, there was booze.
There Cincinnati Distilling was there, and they had a full bar at the Fōwling Warehouse.
Yeah, and then the Bonks. So Fōwling, if you don't know what Fōwling is, because I certainly didn't, it's a cross between cornhole,
Mm-hmm.
Bowling,
Mm-hmm.
and football.
Yeah. So you have bowling pins set up like bowling pins on a flat cornhole-esque board. The 5-pin is a special pin because if you hit the 5-pin and don't hit any of the other pins, that is called a bonk. But you and your partner are on the same side of the board, and you are throwing a football at the board across the way from you.
It's like 40 feet away.
Yeah, to knock all of the pins over. And apparently, if you accidentally knock pins down on other people's boards, that counts. I was much better at hitting the pins off the board slightly to the left of the board I was aiming at than I was at knocking them off of our board.
And I'm not going to lie, you knocked maybe 2 pins down, and somehow we got to only 1 pin on the board.
So there might have been a little bit of cheating.
Because of Dippa Josh. We'll call him Dippa Josh. Who really enjoys West Side Brewing's Dippas.
He really enjoys West Side Brewing's IPAs, but
That is a double IPA for those of you who don't know.
yeah. So yeah, we played against Julia and her Josh, and all of us were terrible. But in the end, the game eventually ended, and then we went back to drinking more beer.
I didn't hit anything on the board.
I hit a few things, and apparently if I aimed at people's faces or body parts, I did better than if I tried to aim at the actual pins.
It's a weird game, for sure.
And the people around us were taking it a lot more seriously than we were.
Oh, yeah. Because we didn't like full like right away. We had a few samples.
Yes, we had some beers first.
So the way this festival worked was you had a card. I guess you can call it a passport, whatever. You were supposed to get it hole punched, each box hole punched. And you went around and you got the samples, 4-ounce samples, 3 or 4 ounce samples.
4 ounce.
Yeah. And there were some really good beers here.
There were. But so we started off the night at 9 Giant.
I started off at Fretboard.
You started off at Fretboard? No. We started off the night at 9 Giant, where we got dinner.
Oh, pre-gaming. Because 9 Giant was there. Okay.
9 Giant was there as well.
Continue.
So we started off the night at 9 Giant, where we got dinner and had a few beers. We had 3 between the two of us, so we could get some yummy food in our bellies to make sure we were ready for a night of drinking. Drove over to the Fōwling Warehouse, checked in, and immediately ran into Josh and Julia. So that was lots of fun. We hung out with them for the night, and Marco and his wife Rachel. And occasionally we hung out with the gnome and some other people as well.
Yeah, the Fōwling Warehouse is literally a warehouse. It's this big open thing.
And you pass it's part of a giant building that contains 3 or 4 other warehouses. So you're passing warehouses to get to the Fōwling Warehouse.
Yeah, it's kind of dark and sketchy, but
it's a lot of fun once you get in the door.
It's back there and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun experience. I didn't get to do it last year because you need 4 people to do it.
Yeah, and I was broken last year.
So you did it last year with Marco.
I did not foal last year.
I thought you did.
No. I specifically did not foal because I have terrible hand-eye coordination.
Okay.
Do not throw objects well, and was already broken and did not want to become more broken.
Yeah, I mean, you have to pay attention because there are footballs flying everywhere.
Yeah. I got much better at catching things towards the end of our time in the Fōwling cage.
Yeah, because it's in a cage and with nets everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, the footballs don't go everywhere.
So we started off just hanging out and then trying to figure out what beers we wanted to drink. And I don't even remember. Oh, I started off with a Fretboard Drummer Boy. That's right. Because I got their Christmas ale.
Before we go through the list, I wanted to say that kind of the fun thing about the Fōwling Warehouse is they have the mystery beer machine.
Mystery beer machine. I have been fortunate so far that all of my mystery beer machine pulls have not been terrible.
So the mystery beer machine, it's this kind of a unique feature that the Fōwling Warehouse has. And this year they gave you one punch on the card, which was dedicated to this mystery beer machine. Last year we had 2. Just want to throw that out there now. Last year we had 2.
Well, and he did acknowledge that this year you only got 1.
Okay.
Oh.
Inflation's getting all of us.
Well, and last year, him and Cincy by the Pint curated the majority of what was in the mystery beer machine. Because between the two of them, they had time to do that. It was just the gnome this year, so he did not have time to do that. But so the mystery beer machine has $5, $4, $3, and $2 beer options. The $2 beer options are sometimes hit and very miss.
So, did you get to choose when you went up there?
No, they automatically pull the $2 because you were doing the bad odds on the mystery beer machine. So it's the $2 pool for the mystery beer machine.
Really?
Yeah.
They purposely give you a bad beer?
Yeah. That's the fun of it. So last year, I want to say I ended up with maybe a Budweiser and
You got a craft.
for sure a West Side Wheat. I got a West Side Wheat, and I got something that wasn't craft but wasn't terrible. Joe got a Steel Reserve.
Which I've never even heard of before last year.
And something else, both of which were very not great.
No, I got a Steel Reserve, and then he made up for it with a Mad Tree Legendary.
Ah, okay, that's
lager,
right.
Legendary lager, so it was
good. Okay. It evened out. This year, I got a Natter Days, which I have not had yet, and I'm looking forward to trying.
Strawberry
lemonade Natter Days.
Strawberry lemonade Natter Days.
So it's Natty Light, shandy. And it was the craft beer boys beer of the summer 2 summers ago. But I think I was pregnant.
Craft beer boys.
Yeah, all of the guys in the craft beer group were drinking Natter Days one summer. It was a thing.
I don't remember that.
I'm pretty sure I was pregnant, which is why I remember it so vividly, because I was like, I would be doing this if I wasn't pregnant. So I've had okay luck with a mystery beer machine.
And then this year you got the Natter Days, and then
one of the volunteers punched my mystery beer machine spot. The only spot that they punched on my card was the mystery beer machine. Now, I could have asked for a new card so we could have gotten a second mystery beer machine pool between the two of us. But based on your luck with the mystery beer machine last year, you decided that you did not want to do that again. That was your personal decision.
I would rather have the beer at the festival than the mystery beer machine beer.
So the mystery beer machine was back. Julia ended up with a Miller High Life. Josh ended up with a Genevieve Honey Brown or something like that.
I think Marco got that one.
Oh, yeah, that was one that Marco got, which was neither honey nor brown.
Did you try it?
No, I saw it, chose not to try it, and they made very interesting faces while they drank it. So I was glad that I did not partake in that one.
Hey everyone, Joe Ludwig here with the one and only Caroline.
Hey!
Before we get to the main topic of today's episode, we wanted to pause briefly and tell you about how you can support the show.
So if you enjoy listening to the podcast and reading our blog posts every week, then you now have the opportunity to support the show through Buy Me a Coffee. Here's what you need to know. It's super easy to do. You don't have to set up an account to contribute. You have options. Send us a one-time donation or sign up as a member to contribute on a monthly or yearly basis. Plus, you can unlock exclusive content.
To learn more about how you can support the Craft Parenting Podcast through Buy Me a Coffee, click the link in the show notes. And now, back to the show.
So there were some interesting beers in the mystery beer machine. But to go through the list that everybody cares about, the craft beer list. 16 lots had their Surveyor Series number 1, Coconut Lavender Marshmallow Milkshake IPA. It was a very confusing beer, but it was very delicious because it smelled like lavender and you got a lot of the marshmallow on the back end.
Yeah.
I was a fan.
I didn't get that one.
Alexandria Brewing Company came with their Stoll's Pilsner, Alexandria Festmarzen, and Pineapple Guava IPA. I don't think that I hit up Alexandria. So I was the one driving this year, and there were way more beers that I wanted to drink than I actually drank. Because after a while, I had to say, nope, no more beer. Need to be able to drive us home.
I got the Martzen out of that list of Alexandria. I got that Martzen.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It was very, very good.
Astra Seltzer brought their Crush and their Blast seltzers. I meant to get the Blast, but I completely forgot, so I did not do that. But what I'm kicking myself for is that Braxton brought their 2019 Mole Dark Charge, And I totally told myself to go back and get that beer, and I completely forgot to.
Braxton was hidden, though.
They were hidden. They were in the middle of the Alexandria tent.
Yeah, they had like a Northern Kentucky. I guess Wooden Cask is Northern Kentucky and Darkness is Northern Kentucky, but
they were hanging out in the same tent.
Never mind. But the next one is Cartridge Brewing Company, Decoy. That was their Dunkelweizen. And that was one of two that I went back for seconds for. It was really good.
Yeah, I don't think I had any of it, but I smelled it as much as my nose can currently smell. And it smelled really good. Cincinnati Distilling brought a handcrafted cocktail. I don't remember what it was. I know Julia got it. And they also brought their Camp Dennison bourbon. I stayed away from the liquor. Yeah. Joe did as well.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati Distilling is doing big things because they just opened up the Millcroft in Old Milford.
In Milford.
But this is Old Milford.
I'm not doing that again. Darkness had Ike Baby with Baby Ike from South Park. And it is a maple brown ale. That was a big beer.
It was a big beer, and it was a very delicious beer.
I went back. That was this other one I went back for seconds for. It was very tasty. Dogberry was there as well, and they had a Husky Robust Porter.
'Tis the season for porters.
That was really good. And then Fibonacci, Betty and Bob. I didn't see Bob, but Betty was there. We talked to Betty for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They had Ida, which is a Berliner with blackberries. I had that one.
I did too. It was very good.
It was very good, yes. And then they also had Lena Lou, which is a Belgian whip beer.
I think with notes of caramel, but I don't exactly remember. I just remember that I got their Berliner with blackberries, and it was very yummy. 50 West, which I think I also skipped over for some reason, but now I really wish that I didn't. They had Deja Mu, which is their coconut and vanilla milk stout, their Mocha and Motors Imperial Stout, and their experimental West Coast IPA. Or was this the one that I cuvées?
That you mixed?
Yeah.
You mixed Municipal.
Municipal Brewworks. That's one that we cuvées. That's right.
I had the Mocha, and I believe I had... No, I just had the Mocha.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good. And then Fretboard was there. They had a Banana Foster Fuji, Vlad, and Drummer Boy. And I had the Fuji and the Drummer Boy out of that list.
Yeah, and so Vlad and the Astra seltzers are the most, maybe the Geist tea as well, are the most easy to get beers on this list. Everything else is harder to find or very seasonal. So you can only get it sometimes. So it's not because typically 50 West wouldn't go anywhere without their Coast to Coast IPA, but they will come to this beer festival and not bring their Coast to Coast IPA. So it's nice to see the variations that you can actually get from these breweries to see what they can truly do. High Grain brought their Petite Passe, a 7-hopped Saison. I don't know if I got that one.
No, but I missed that one.
And then March 1st brought their Bourbon Barrel Aged Black Forest Stout. Ooh, that sounded yummy.
That was a big beer.
Yeah, it sounds like a big beer.
It was 12%, I think, 11%. I missed that one as well. I wanted it, but I know my limitations.
And then Municipal Brewworks recommended a crazy thing that was very yummy. I cuvées their Real Raspberry Blonde with their True West Coffee Stout. And it worked out real good.
I did that as well.
And they also brought their I Got Your Six Citra Hopped Golden Ale. Narrow Path brought their Christmas Cookie Ale, which was very delicious.
It was not a typical Christmas ale, I would say. It had a lot of gingerbread.
Yeah, it tasted a lot like a gingerbread cookie.
Yeah. A lot of the Christmas ales are cinnamon, nutmeg sort of thing. But this was gingerbread. It was so good. Mm-hmm. With cinnamon and nutmeg, I'm sure, but very gingerbread forward. And then Nine Giant was there. They had Fashion is Danger, Black Rye IPA, and Thorn Within, the Maple Barrel Aged Imperial Brown Ale. I wanted that one as well, but I did not get it.
Yeah, we almost ordered it when we were at Nine Giant, and I was like, I cannot get an 11% beer before I go to a beer festival, or else I will not be able to drink any of the beers at the beer festival.
And they had Influxed, which was an oak-aged lager, which it wasn't huge in ABV. It was, I think, only 6, but I made a note to get it, but I didn't make it back.
So Rheingeist was there with their Antelope Amber Lager, Geist Tea, and Infinite Dawn Sour Blonde Ale. I got the Geist Tea, and it was very yummy. It did not taste like alcohol. I would drink it again.
And then Sonder was there with 1948 Fruit Stand.
It tasted like a smoothie.
Swine City was there with their Good Enough for Me oatmeal raisin. I had that one.
Always a good beer.
Street Side Black is Beautiful Imperial Stout with macadamia and coconut coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Dinky McDinkerson, nice name, which is a double New England IPA. And they had a Caramel Jungle Gets Pied, which is a berry pie Berliner Weiss with caramel.
That was a good beer. I enjoyed that one because I got that one from Street Side.
Third Eye Brewing, they had Space Toast Continuum. I don't know what that one is. Dark Aurora Peanut Butter Stout and Untapped Potential Kolsch.
I'm pretty sure I got their Space Toast, and it was pretty tasty.
And then, of course, West Side was there with their Dippa, and Win and Cast was there with their Galaxy Cold IPA,
which Marco really enjoyed. So we were sitting at a spool that was our table, because some of the tables at the Fōwling Warehouse are picnic tables, and some of them are just giant wire spools. And they're like, okay, last call in 5 minutes. So like, if you want another beer, get another beer. But it's last call. So we had the water cups on our table because we had been drinking water. Marco walks away, gets his little sample cup filled up, comes back to the table, aggressively dumps it into his empty water cup, and then walks away. And we're like, oh, that must have been like a really bad beer where like he took a sip of it, didn't like it, and is now going to get something else to end the night. Comes back, starts walking back, and we're like, that looks like the exact same beer. Mildly aggressively dumps it in that same cup. So now the cup is 2/3 full of the beer. Turns around to get another one. And we're like, dude, you could have just gotten the cup filled up probably. And he was like, no. So then fills up the cup all of the way with his little sample cup. And then we're like, okay, sweet, you're done. And he's like, nope. Turns around and fills his sample cup up again.
Oh my God.
So he had 4 sample cups of the Galaxy Cold IPA to finish off the night. He was very insistent, and it was very hilarious.
I don't think that's a very big beer, like as far as ABV goes.
I don't think so either.
But of course, he wasn't driving. He had his lovely wife there as well.
Yes.
Which we met for the first time.
I had met her before. I met her when I iced Marco.
Nice.
Because I iced them on their birthday, and Rachel brought them their birthday present. And then I was like, okay, now you can open up my birthday present to you. Haha, Marco.
Did she laugh? Did she understand?
I don't know if she was still there or if she just like dropped off their presents and then had to run away. But yeah, so we had a fun time. We walked around, got a lot of beers.
You have to tell a story about Danny, though.
Oh, yeah. So
because Danny was like, was he the one that was hesitant about the mystery beer machine, or was that Joe? The other Joe? I think the other Joe was like, I don't want a Milwaukee Best.
I think it was other Joe, yeah.
I want craft beer.
Yeah.
So I think Danny was like, okay, I'll get it for you, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to the beer machine because he was a vendor. He didn't get a card.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, he went to the mystery beer machine and I forget what he got.
It was blue. I have a picture of it because it's one of like 2 pictures that I actually took while we were there.
So he went with someone else.
Stroh's. He got a Stroh's.
So he went with someone else, and I think that someone else got a Steel Reserve.
Yes, someone else got a Steel Reserve.
And then he got a Stroh's.
Yeah, it's a blue can.
It's just like a lager, right? Made in Milwaukee.
Yeah, something like that. And we convinced him to shotgun it.
Yeah, I put my hand in my pocket. I'm like, here, and I handed him a key. And he's like, oh, man, I don't know. And I'm like, and everyone was like, do it. So we convinced
ain't
Danny.
No pressure like other
we convinced Danny to shotgun a beer. And he did a pretty good job, except he did get some beer on his shirt.
He did. And he was like, it's been a very long time since I've done that.
But I don't think I could have done it. So that was Beers, Booze, Bonks, Boinks, Binks, Buoys, Bobcats, Better Business Bureau.
Yeah. So we had...
For 2022.
We had a fun night hanging out with Julia, her Josh, Marco, and Rachel. In addition to brewers, brewery owners, and other influencers in the Cincinnati craft beer community. And we got to meet Mrs. Gnome and hang out with her for a bit.
Yeah.
I bought a new hat from the Gnome, so I helped support him.
Oh, you didn't describe the hat.
Oh, yeah. So the hat is all black, and it has a little black reverse silhouette of the Gnarly Gnome. So it's black on black, and it's a little hard to see, but it is one of 2 hats in existence. So I have a hat, and the Gnome has a hat. So we are permanently linked by this hat.
Oh, my God.
I need another hat. Maybe. Probably not. I'm going to wear it to work tomorrow. It's fine.
We need more stuff like we need a hole in our head. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about the festival. It was a really good time. Thanks to my sister for watching the kids.
Yep. We took all of 2 photos. One of Danny preparing to shotgun a beer, and another one of all of us sitting around the table when we were like, yeah, we're not here to record podcasts or like create content. We're here to hang out. And I was like, oh yeah, we should probably take a photo. Bam. We have a photo of us all together for the night.
I will try to put that on as the cover photo for this episode.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was sponsored by WEBN, but...
They were just there to hang out for the most part, it seemed like.
Yeah, the music was not WEBN.
No, it was a very weird playlist.
It was like 90s pop.
And the occasional like Taylor Swift. It's like, oh, okay.
Like they could have at least played the radio, WEBN, maybe.
I don't know.
You do you, Fōwling Warehouse.
It was a good time. I can't wait to go again next year.
Yeah, if we have a babysitter.
We will have a babysitter. Lily will be old enough to watch the kids on her own. We'll make it happen. We'll have a babysitter.
That does it for this week's bonus episode. Thanks so much for listening. If you like the show, like, follow, and subscribe to us on social media. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you want to help us help the show grow, you can leave a rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to send us stuff, we have a P.O. box. We have a ton of information on our website. Go check it out. We also have blog posts up there. He's Joe, a.k.a. at Craft Parenting Joe. I'm Caroline, a.k.a. at Caroline Creates Crafts. And that's been us. See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast. Bye.